There are a whole bunch of projects on the horizon from DC Studios under the leadership of James Gunn and Peter Safran. This includes projects set in the DCU and titles that are stated to be Elseworlds like The Batman Part 2. Merger Bros are going to be delusional and tell you otherwise. Characters or groups that have gotten their own TV shows in the past handful of years, in and out of animation, or are said to be getting their own shows include the creature Commandos, the Penguin, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Mr. Miracle, Starfire, and a plethora of others. Given the range of greenlit projects dedicated to both popular and lesser known characters, there's still a handful of heroes that I think should get their own series, having never received one either in animation or live action. I'd be fine if any of these were theatrically released movies to further expose them to mainstream audiences, but TV shows could help in further fleshing out their mythos. To reiterate, this selection is based on characters who have never received their own shows at any point in time. Only the folks over at DC Studios know the true amount of shows in development beyond what we already know. Worst case scenario would be if all of their future plans were to get leaked on some Insomniac timing. While forthcoming with certain things on the horizon, James Gunn likes to keep his overarching plan for the DCU close to the chest and protected. You can ensure your data is protected by using today's video partner, NordVPN. Certain malware won't just damage your computer, it holds your personal data ransom to coerce you into complying with the hacker's demands. Giving them money doesn't guarantee you'll be in the clear because hackers can create duplicates of your data for blackmail, or even leave a ticking time bomb in your device. Say you click on a link with a pop-up saying you need an antivirus update, but the installation is a virus in disguise that locks up your hard drive. You can mitigate the chances of malware getting into your device by checking out my link nordvpn.com/menterprises for effective threat protection that scans files while downloading to warn you about any suspicious websites. There's also some entertainment benefits to using NordVPN. US versions of streaming services often remove shows people actually want to watch, such as regular show. With NordVPN, I can just switch my server to Germany or Italy and boom, I can watch my goats Mordecai and Rigby act like some of the biggest fools on television. Every purchase of a 2-year plan will include 4 bonus months on top, and this is the best deal you can get currently, but only by typing the link nordvpn.com/menterprises or by clicking the link in the description. If you don't like the service, no problem, because NordVPN offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. For optimal browsing and protection, be sure to visit nordvpn.com/menterprises. What better way to start things off than talking about the greatest character in the Bat family besides Batman himself, Nightwing. During the late 2000s, there was a Nightwing animated series in the works, but it was put on the back burner and eventually abandoned in favor of the Young Justice cartoon. Raven was said to be a prominent supporting character throughout the series. The artist behind these early concept designs previously worked as a storyboard artist on projects like Batman Year One, The Spectacular Spider-Man, and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and also served as a character designer for The Boondocks and The Legend of Korra. During the DCEU era, the director of the Lego Batman movie was set to helm a live-action movie centered on Nightwing. This obviously never ended up happening.
Man, this some old bullshit.
Given the fact that Nightwing has had a couple of cancelled projects over the years, I think it's long overdue for him to get the proper spotlight in the mainstream again. Preferably, I would like to see a live-action HBO Max miniseries as a part of the DCU canon. Technically, there's no concrete confirmation of Nightwing's existence in the DCU as of right now, but it's pretty much a no-brainer that he's out and about as a crime fighter. How would someone establish a Bat family in The Brave and the Bold, introduce audiences to Damian Wayne, but not have Nightwing make an appearance? That would be a generational fumble. Additionally, you have canonical DCU projects like Creature Commandos and Peacemaker Season 2 directly mention the city of Bloodhaven. A lot of Dick Grayson fans can have their cake and eat it too, since an episodic format can still showcase his origin and how he first came into contact with Batman, whether through flashback scenes, episodes focused on his early days as Robin, or even the journey of how he became Nightwing. I'd imagine he would play somewhat of a role in the world building in the DCU by not only demonstrating the kinds of heroes that are part of the Bat family, but also in his prominent role as the leader of the Teen Titans, a group that's currently said to be getting their own movie. Despite what people think, Nightwing has had more of a rivalry with Deathstroke than Batman, so a miniseries could help flesh out that dynamic in an interesting way. Now I'm gonna need you to walk with me for this one. Not that long ago, James Gunn mentioned he'd like to have Matt Reeves direct a DCU project at some point.
Is there one filmmaker, if you had your druthers, if you could lure anybody into the DCU?
Matt Reeves.
You already got him.
No,
into the DCU.
He's not in the DCU.
As for what movie or show Reeves should direct, I think a character like The Question would be right up his alley. A low-budget, detective noir-driven HBO series would fit perfectly for a character like Vic Sage, especially if Matt Reeves wants to maintain a grounded, more down-to-earth aesthetic with the characters he gets his hands on. A faceless vigilante who operates in Hub City and is one of the best detectives in the verse. Vic Sage was a TV investigator who strived to expose the systematic corruption embedded within Hub City. The men who worked under the mayor staged a setup in an attempt to try and get Vic Sage to stop his antics. He showed up as the Question, only to get beaten up badly by Lady Shiva and a bunch of other goons. After he was thrown into a river and left for dead, Lady Shiva saved him and led him to a path to find Richard Dragon, who taught Sage martial arts. The Question is known for his paranoia, with many heroes in the community viewing his methods as little more than conspiracy theories. But he still gets the job done in more ways than one, garnering respect from titular characters like Batman for his detective work and striving for justice. Saying he's a slept-on character would be an understatement. The Question is the only character mentioned in this video who's never made an appearance in a live-action movie or TV show. Topple that with the limited appearances he's had in animated projects over the years. I think the DCU needs some pizzazz and showmanship with some of its characters. A good introduction to the mystical side of the universe would be a TV show centered on the great Zatanna Zatara. The mural in the Hall of Justice in Superman honors the history of metahumans in the DCU. I doubt it includes every single heroic metahuman from the past, but perhaps it centers on the more prominent ones or those chosen according to some criteria by Maxwell Lord. I mean, the dude literally put himself at the end. In the mural, you can see the father of Zatanna, Giovanni Zatara, next to the Amazing Man and the Sandman. It seems to be the case that he was around during the World War II era if they're aligning somewhat with the DC Comics canonical timeline, meaning that Zatanna should be around in the present day. Set photos from the upcoming Clayface movie reveal a club where she performed her magic shows. In the comics, Zatanna headlined the club's opening in Gotham City, drawing on her reputation as a hero and member of the Justice League. There's also the idea of DC Studios introducing her in another project before a potential series to get audiences more invested in her character, whether in a major or minor role in a movie. Connections to some of the major players include her childhood friendship with Bruce Wayne, as both of their fathers knew each other. Bruce also trained under Giovanni Zatara during his quest to become Batman. They don't have to go the route of introducing Zatanna in a Batman project. She's also been depicted as having a good dynamic with Wonder Woman. They also don't necessarily have to introduce her before giving her a solo project, but it wouldn't be surprising if the strategy is to use prominent characters like the Trinity to give lesser known heroes a platform. Currently, Zatanna has had only one live action appearance throughout her 60+ years of existence via the Smallville TV show, along with being among the many heroes who have had a cancelled project in the DCEU. The basic premise for a show on Zatanna could be her having a nationwide tour for her stage magician act, performing in locations like Las Vegas and Gotham. It'd be a cool way of exploring the different fictional cities in the DCU, get wacky with her magic and showcase the versatility of her abilities. Her showmanship for magic makes her stand out from the rest like Dr. Fate or Constantine. The nature of her abilities could also work in an animated format, allowing her capabilities to be better showcased. This next show idea is one that's been speculated to be in development for quite some time, with rumors making the rounds only a handful of months after the initial DCU announcement slate. Gunn mentioned in an interview that DC Studios has plans for creating projects on superheroes centered on different countries around the globe, some centered on areas like Korea, Japan, and Brazil. Filmmakers from those respective countries would be a part of the creative process. Long before this, there have been reports from Nexus Point News of a Huntress TV show in development that would mostly be in Korean and would depict Helena Bertinelli as half Korean and half Italian. The premise for these international shows would be that they are spoken in the country's native language and feature a cast of actors from that country. A Huntress show in development hasn't been confirmed by anybody from DC Studios or one of the big Hollywood trades, so it is still just a rumor, but the source does have a decent track record when it comes to news regarding DCU projects before they're reported by the big trades. Not to mention, Gunn has teased the character's appearance on multiple occasions.
Part of the goal from the beginning was to be able to create, to give the honor the great characters deserve, the Wonder Womans, Batmans, and Supermans, but then also to prop up these lesser known characters like Peacemaker and Booster Gold and, the Huntress or whomever. Bring those other characters up so that those, maybe they're the next generation of Diamond characters. Mr. Terrific in this movie, who I love.
Oh, he's so good. Well, great. I'm going to continue to hope that I'll see Helena Wayne someday.
Oh, is that who you want to see? Okay.
That's my girl.
There's a good chance of that. I think there's a good chance of that.
If there is a Huntress in the DCU, I'm positive it's going to be Helena Bertinelli, not Helena Wayne. People like to use them interchangeably when talking about the Huntress, but they're not the same. Helena Wayne is the Huntress from Earth 2 and is the daughter of Bruce Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. Helena Bertinelli was introduced after Crisis on Infinite Earths as the new main Earth Huntress, where she grew up in an Italian mafia family in Gotham, which was murdered by a rival crime family when she was 8 years old. Helena would grow up to train and take revenge against the mob in Gotham after learning more about their corruption and murderous tactics, becoming inspired by Batman's antics when he faced against members of the mob at a party she attended. Huntress was often seen as the violent black sheep of the Bat family long before Jason Todd came back as Red Hood. This is the version of the character seen in adaptations like Justice League Unlimited, where she had a relationship with the Question, and the Batman the Brave and the Bold cartoon.
Huntress, can you reach any of your crossbow arrows?
Let me feel around a little.
Huntress.
To cap things off, I think the best way to go about exploring the origins of Hawkgirl would be through a miniseries on HBO Max. Hawkman and Hawkgirl are notorious for having some of the most convoluted, messy origins in DC Comics, so there's a lot of different directions they can go in. What's most consistent in every iteration of the Hawkman-Hawkgirl lore is the concept of reincarnation, living countless lives over thousands of years, being reborn into new people after death. Different episodes can explore the different versions of Hawkman and Hawkgirl over the centuries, from ancient Egypt all the way to the present day, or as a means of Kendra Saunders trying to learn more about her past after coming into contact with Hawkman for the first time, since we don't know how much or how little she knows about her origins. It would also be a cool way of delving into the more cosmic side of the DC universe and other planets. Even if Kendra herself isn't established as a Thanagarian, her nth metal wings come from the planet Thanagar, which give her abilities as well as her signature mace. There's a tragic element to Kendra that can convey grand thematic elements throughout the series, especially if they ever decide to take elements from the comics with attempted suicide, a rough upbringing with the death of her parents, and spending much of her younger years in youth facilities. A big emphasis placed on the struggle with identity and reincarnation. Not only would this be the perfect opportunity to introduce Hawkman, a show like this can showcase more of the history of metahumans with any Justice Society of America connections. Those are just a handful of ideas that I think could help flesh out the world building of this new universe and give the spotlight to characters that don't get as much recognition in mainstream media, or have been hoed in one way or another in the past. Any one of these concepts wouldn't be that far-fetched if we're living in the same timeline where the creature Commandos, the Penguin, and Peacemaker can get their own shows. What are some characters or teams you think should get their own dedicated series in the DCU? Go nuts because the possibilities are endless.